All right, everybody, welcome in. We are here to talk about autism, everybody. If you're an autism parent, if you suspect you may be autistic or you suspect your child might be autistic, you are in the right place. We're going to go ahead and get started. And we go live for about 2 hours. I'm going live a little bit later than usual. I had a morning with my family this morning and took a little bit of extra time to get on this live, but I don't miss a day usually. And so we're still going live. I'm just getting things set up here. We're going to go live for a couple of hours here to talk about autism. How is everybody doing today? As you're coming in, be tapping on that screen. It's a weekend. Now, for autism families, the weekend might feel like a lot. Maybe you don't have services on the weekend. Maybe you don't have school. Maybe it's a day that, you try to do stuff. You try to go out and about with your family, but it's hectic. I don't know. Be tapping on that screen. Let's get us up to 20,000 likes as quickly as we can, so then I can go through the autism news of the day. I'll go ahead and introduce myself a little bit. I am in Utah, and I'm an autism dad. I have 2 children diagnosed with autism. I have a nearly 4-year-old and a nearly 2-year-old, and they are both incredible. They're both learning so much, and I'm a proud dad. I'm also a board-certified behavior analyst. I work with people with autism. I've been doing that since 2013. And I am currently the CEO of a company that serves people with autism throughout the state of Utah. But my favorite part of my day is coming onto these live streams and talking to each one of you guys. For those 30 people in here, where are you guys from? Please put it in the chat. Are you guys, anyone else in Utah? What about the United States? Put the state that you're in or put the country that you're in. Love to see where you guys are from. Who do we got on this live so far, you guys? Go ahead and let me know. Oh, Oklahoma. You're in Arizona, California, Iceland, Kenya. Hey, if I expand to Arizona, I'll let you know. And I'll let you know if I expand to Arizona. All right, you're from Canada, Scotland, Illinois, North Dakota. What are your thoughts on ABA and the criticisms on it? I think there's valid criticisms of ABA, and that's coming from a board-certified behavior analyst. I think there's adults that were harmed by it when they were children. I think that there's no doubt that ABA works. ABA absolutely can change behavior. The question is, should it change that behavior? And unfortunately, in the past, ABA focused on behaviors that they should not focus on. That includes things like masking. It focused on teaching kids to not stim and not flap their hands when that is regulating for a child. There is also times that they're overly focused on compliance. And so when people tell you that they personally had a bad experience with ABA, don't doubt them. Don't doubt them. However, if you're a parent, don't let that steer you away from getting it, because that therapy can be life-changing. And if you're addressing behaviors that actually make a difference, like teaching your child to communicate, teaching them how to functionally communicate or replace a behavior that is causing them harm, it does incredible things. So absolutely. Okay, everybody, let me go ahead and try to catch up on some of this. I have a 5.5-year-old who has been rough. He has been mean to me, steals, lies, tries to hurt his brother, then is an angel at school, and that barely scratches the surface. Samantha, I'm sorry that you're going through a hard time. I've had a thought. I've had a thought lately. Service providers mean the world to me. I love people at school. I love people at ABA. I love speech therapists, occupational therapists. There's a lot of incredible service providers out there. But they don't always understand what you're going through as a parent. They get to clock out. They get to go home. And they don't understand that in the back of your mind is not just the constant vigilance of always having to be aware of where your child is and what they're doing and not be able to relax and rest. That just scratches the surface of our concerns. What's going to happen if we're not around? What happens if when we're gone? We can't take care of them. Not to mention the financial impact that it has. That one partner usually can't work, and then it the services are so expensive, and the environmental accommodations throughout your house are expensive. And so, guys, I love experts and I love service providers, and I really wish that autism parents and autistic people had the love and the support and the understanding from every single service provider. Okay. Have a 3-year-old move from level 1 to level 2 due to nonverbal. Any ideas? All right. So the level, don't stress too much about those levels. Depending on the psychologist that you go through, they'll assign a different level. It's not always a consistent measure. Don't let that dictate the progress that you see in your child. Focus on the progress. And if your child's not communicating well, they definitely need services. If communication is a big factor, I'd number 1, look into speech therapy. Are you getting speech therapy? And then get ABA therapy. And, if you get those that work well together, I would not get an ABA therapist that thinks they know more than a speech therapist. And I would not go with a speech therapist who refuses to work well with an ABA provider. If you're getting both ABA and speech in a collaborative way, your child's going to make progress with their communication. As an undiagnosed adult, how do I go about getting a diagnosis? Hey, you know what? I'm curious who's on here. We got 350 people on here. Who do we have? Put a 1 in the chat if you are an autism parent or suspect that your child's autistic. Put 2 in the chat if you're autistic or suspect that you're autistic. Put 3 in the chat if you're just here to learn, or you're a provider, you're someone interested in learning about autism. 1, 2, or 3. Put it in the chat, you guys. Let's see who all is here. Okay, we got a lot of 1s, a lot of autism parents, you guys. We got some 2s if you're autistic or suspect you're autistic, and then 3s. You're a service provider. Great. Or just someone that's interested. I love that. Okay, so if you are a 2, if you suspect that you're autistic, what I'm going to tell you to do is, number 1, recognize there are a lot of people underdiagnosed. People say that autism is overdiagnosed and that we have an epidemic, and that is completely false. People are underdiagnosed, and it's because the diagnostic criteria, the definition of autism changed in 2013, and with increased screeners, we are catching so many kids now. However, all of these adults who missed that screening opportunity as a kid are now adults and struggling to regulate themselves. And they look back and they maybe they have an autistic child and they say, oh, it's genetic. Well, let me kind of look at myself with this. If you are curious and think that you may be autistic, one good place to start is link in my bio talks about, or there is a RADS screener, the RADS 14. And that is a validated screening tool that allows you to, it doesn't diagnose autism. You can't diagnose yourself with autism. You can say you suspect autism, but a screener like the RADS 14 can inform you on if it's a good idea to speak to a psychologist and schedule an evaluation. Is it genetic? Kat is wondering if autism is genetic. That is a good question. Yes, it is. Autism is absolutely genetic. We do know that it is 80 to 90% genetic, and then about 10 to 20% environmental. Now, when we talk about environmental, let me touch on this because I saw a video yesterday. I actually did a stitch with it, and it was a doctor who was saying, guys, a research study just came out linking pollution to autism. We know that autism is genetics and environmental factors. If it's pollution, that means it's toxins. If it's toxins, you need to buy this detox protocol. And you need to be careful with that language because we know that toxins can impact how a brain develops in early development. And those research studies linking air pollution and autism are largely done during pregnancy, and linking that when in utero and the mother is exposed to high levels of air pollution, it can be linked to autism. Very small percentage. And so that doesn't mean that the body is filled with toxins to get rid of. That's not what that's saying. Please be cautious about that. Okay, we do have comments over on the YT platform. Just know if I'm missing your questions, you can always hop on over there and I can explain more, or I can read more questions on the YT platform. I can't say the name of it, but it is linked in my bio. The chat's just a lot slower over there, so I get to more questions. What is your opinion on leucovorin? I'm optimistic. I am hopeful. It's not something recommended right now. It's not something that's FDA approved. In fact, the large big pharma company who was pushing for FDA approval just withdrew their application for the FDA approval for leucovorin for autism symptoms. And so I'm optimistic, but the research isn't there. The research is mixed. There's 5 randomized clinical trials, that one of which was just removed. The most convincing one was just removed. So I'm optimistic. I really do hope that we find that it helps. I know there's a lot of families that swear by it. It's not something I can platform, and it's not something that I have had my children do who are autistic, because it's not a recommended treatment. My children are not guinea pigs. We don't just go around and try everything that someone says worked for their child. We stick to what's evidence-based in my household. And so you can do what you want in your household, but in my household, I kind of just stick to what is widely recommended, and that's what I platform. So Ash says, my 7-year-old elopes all the time. It's terrifying. I moved to homeschool due to it. He made it to the highway 3 times his kindergarten year. Oh my gosh. Guys, over on the YT platform, Ash talked about how her 7-year-old has made it to the highway 3 times. And then people dare tell us not to track our children. Have you guys seen those videos? Dear parents, do not send your kids to school with an AirTag. Guys, it's okay to track your kids. I'm sorry, Ash, that your child is eloping. That is scary. Okay, is autism a common side effect of vaccines? No, there's actually no correlation between vaccines and autism. That's kind of a little known fact. A lot of people think, oh, like there's a correlation. It just hasn't shown to cause it. And so there's questions. Or, hey, we just haven't researched it. No, there's dozens of studies. And there's no correlation, not even a correlation between autism and vaccines. People always hate on me for homeschooling my nonverbal autistic son. Guys, let's not hate on autism parents. That's my philosophy. Look, no matter what an autism parent does, man, we got to be full of love for autism parents. We're going through a lot. We got to stick together, you guys. Okay, we're at 3,500 likes. As soon as we get to 20,000, I do go through the autism news of the day. So if you're new here, go ahead and be tapping that screen. Or if you're not new here, be tapping on that screen. Everybody, if you're here, tap on that screen. Let's see how quickly we can get there. And then I'll go through the autism news of the day. A little bit of an introduction about myself for those of you that are new. I live in Utah. Where are you all from? Where's the 300 of you guys from? Put it in the chat. I'm in Utah. Anyone else in Utah here? Where are you from? Now, what am I doing? What am I doing here? I am an autism dad. I have 2 kids diagnosed with autism. Honduras, that's pretty cool. Hey, Johnny Gray's in Utah. Howdy, neighbor. Good to see ya. Hey, Southern Utah. Hey, I used to live in Southern Utah. I was down in Hurricane for a little bit. Very cool. Very cool, very cool. So I'm a autism dad. I got 2 kids diagnosed with autism. I'm also a board certified behavior analyst. So I've worked with people who are autistic since 2013. I am the CEO of a company that has a few clinics here in Utah for autistic people. And I am just here. Oh, you're in Cedar. I went to school in Cedar City. That's where I went to school. That's where I met my wonderful wife. Cedar City. Love it there. Okay. And I go live on a daily basis here. I love talking to you all. I really love being on here. I love talking to you guys. I love learning about your experience. I love learning about autism. People ask me questions every day that I don't know. And I don't tell you things that I don't know. And so I'll look it up and we'll learn together. So Brado says, why has the autism rate in California increased from 1 in 1,000 to 1 in 13? Brado, I don't believe California, it's 1 in 13. but I'll talk about it. No, it's not 1 in 13. It is higher than average, though. Oh, for males specifically. Okay. Yeah, autism is diagnosed more in men than in boys than it is for girls. Now, why has autism increased? Why are there so many people getting diagnosed with autism these days? Have you ever wondered that? Seems like everyone has autism these days. Have you guys heard this one? Back when I was a kid, no one was autistic. We never had autism. Let me break this down for you guys. What are the real statistics? Okay, the real statistic is back in 2000, about 1 in 150 people were diagnosed with autism. Now it's 1 in 31. And so we've had about a 5 times increase, 500% increase in autism in the past 25 years. Now, let me explain a little bit about why that statistic means absolutely nothing. The definition of autism changed. You can't compare. The definition of autism literally changed in 2013. Before, autism used to just include those most profoundly impacted. In 2013, they made it a spectrum, okay? A broader spectrum. They widened the net. They got rid of the diagnosis of Asperger's and PDD-NOS and lumped everything together. And so you can't just say, like, hey, there was an increase, because you're measuring two different things. Now, on top of that, it was around that same time that pediatricians broadly started screening for autism. So now every child at the age of 18 months and 24 months are screened by their pediatrician for autism. So we are catching it. But let me say, I still believe it's underdiagnosed. And it's because for boys, only 1 in 20 are diagnosed. But girls, 1 in 70. Why are boys 3 times more likely to be diagnosed with autism? Anna says everyone thinks their child has autism because of any little thing. Well, Anna, you can't just diagnose your kid with autism, though. You have to go to a psychologist, and there's specific diagnostic criteria. It is difficult to qualify for autism. You can't just fake an autism diagnosis. A parent can't just make it up. There's observations that take place. But why are boys diagnosed so much more than girls? Why are boys diagnosed so much more than girls with autism? It's a curious thing. And there is a lot that we do know about it. Some may argue that there are biological differences between boys and girls. In fact, there was a recent study published this month explaining that there may be protective factors in the X chromosome. As you know, the girls are XX chromosome, and that extra X may lie some protective factors of autism. But that hasn't been replicated in the studies. It's just a theory. There's a stronger theory. But I don't know that you guys are ready to hear it. There's a stronger theory, but it kind of causes us to question society a little bit. There is documented research and publications suggesting that societal pressures on girls lead girls to mask earlier. Now, it's a fact. Girls mask earlier than boys. Masking referring to concealing, even if it's uncomfortable, concealing autistic traits. And girls tend to mask earlier than boys. Now, the leading theories in that, as I said, is society tends to put pressure differently on girls than they do boys. Men, I know this is going to get you all kind of mad, okay? But I think it's good for us to recognize that girls are held, and girls don't usually question this because they've lived this their whole life, that girls have stronger societal pressures than boys. Boys, even as babies, even as toddlers, a 2-year-old boy who's being rambunctious and running around and loud, it's, oh, look how cute. Look, he's just a boy. He's just a boy. What do we say to girls? Put it in the chat, you guys. What do you hear people say to girls when they are stimming, when they are spinning, when they are being loud? What do we tell the girls? That's not ladylike, right, Mallory? What else do we tell girls? Be a lady. She's too much. Be quiet. Or were you telling me to be quiet? Yeah. Yes, okay. She's sassy. What's wrong with her? Yes, okay. Guys, we tell girls that they need to change, that they need to be different. They're not just being a girl and they're being rambunctious. For boys, that is what boys do. But for girls, we teach them to mask. And so, yes, 1 in 20 boys are diagnosed with autism. 1 in 70 girls are diagnosed with autism. I think it's okay for us to recognize that. Okay, let's learn about what TKS Daddy is talking about, because I don't know what this is. There's literally a major different brain structure, higher corpus callosum. Embrace, thank you so much for the hat and mustache. Guys, as far as gifts go, no one feel obligated to gift. But if you can, gifting does tell TikTok to get this out to more people. And it means the world. Thank you so much, Embrace. Let me look this up, TK. Now, people don't like how I do research on here because I don't just Google something. I go on to a AI research platform that the only info it pulls from is from research articles. It's called site.ai. Look up, I thought you studied this. I don't understand your sentence there. I'm looking it up. I'm doing the research. I'll tell you about it. Okay, teach me about corpus callosum in autism. All right, we'll learn what you're talking about. I like to learn. You don't got to yell at me. Hey, TKS Daddy, don't yell at me. Gail says, it's the Tylenol. Duh. Yeah, the Tylenol, huh? Oh, you're saying that autism in boys versus girls is a biological difference. So the only study I'm aware of with that references an XX chromosome and the X adding a protective factor. Is that what you're talking about? That was released this week. Okay, Yellum says, are the signs of autism in boys the same as girls, or do they show up differently? So the biggest difference here is that for girls do tend to mask earlier. That is a documented study. I'll need to do more research on that because there's not a quick answer here, but thank you. Oh my goodness, you guys got us to 20,000 already? That was pretty quick, you guys. It's time for the autism news of the day. Oh, you study autism, or what's the situation here? Let me tell you a little bit about the situation here for those of you just coming in. It's time for the autism news of the day. So I am an autism dad. I got 2 kids with autism. I have a master's degree in autism studies. I started working with people with autism since 2013. Embrace, thank you so much for the hand hearts. That does mean the world. And I'm a board certified behavior analyst. I got into autism, working in autism, long before my own children were diagnosed. And now, wow, TKS is so mean to me. So mean to me. Now I'm a CEO of a company that provides services to people who are autistic. And I go on these lives every day to talk about it, to support each other, to teach people, to learn. Oh, okay, we got some more people in ABA in here too. That's very cool. All right, you guys, let me go ahead and break down some news. Oh no, that was a Freudian slip here. You're going to hear why. There's some news that I was made aware of. This was published 2 days ago, and maybe people already know. Who here watches Love on the Spectrum? Has anyone here watched Love on the Spectrum? There's some news. That I found out. And maybe you guys already saw that Abby and David broke up. It's not in the show. It's not in the show itself, but they just broke up in real life and announced it. In the show, I know, guys. I am so sad about it. They were so cute. And it seemed like such a healthy relationship. I was really happy for him. But so far, it seems like it's been amicable, that they both seem to be doing okay. These were the ones that went on the safari together. Do you guys remember that? Do you guys remember the safari? Yeah, they were adorable. Oh, man, it's heartbreaking, you guys. I wanted them to get married. I think they were engaged. Were they engaged, you guys? Were they engaged? I think they were engaged. Oh, yes. Their timing for marriage wasn't right. That's right. I don't remember who didn't want to get married quite yet, but I think they were engaged. But they weren't ready at the same time. All right, you guys. It's sad. It's sad. What is your faith in God in relation to autism? I don't know what that means. I don't think God needs to heal autism, if that's your question. I am a religious guy, but I don't talk about that on here. That's not the purpose of this. And I am not a fan of the language about, needing to cure autism or praying away autism. I think that can actually be pretty harmful. Abby wanted to get married, but he wasn't ready. Really? Oh my gosh. Oh, that breaks my heart, you guys. If you're just coming in, we're breaking down some autism news. It looks like Abby and David just broke up 2 days ago. I should have done this yesterday. I don't know why it took me so long, but yeah, they just broke up. All right, you guys. Let's go ahead and continue on with some of these conversations. All right. My coworker, this is on the YT platform. My coworker thinks circumcision is connected with autism. His kid is autistic. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah. Okay. Came here from FYP. Thank you for holding the space. Bree, thank you so much. Let me ask you guys, who here is new? Do we got some new people on here seeing me for the first time? If you're new here and I just came across your For You page, put FYP in the chat. Put FYP in the chat. Let's see who's new. Put FYP in the chat. Okay, we got some new people. If you're just coming in and you're new, you should know I go live on a daily basis. I do know a lot about autism, but not everything. Some guy came in and asked me a question I didn't know, and then he started kind of being mad at me. I don't know why he was so mad. But yeah, I'll tell you if I don't know something. But one of my favorite things is to dispel misinformation about autism. There's a lot of misinformation out there, and I'm very protective of autistic people, but I'm also very protective of autism parents. I go live on a daily basis. If it still says follow right here, that means if we get disconnected right now, you're not going to be able to come back and find me. So please make sure that you're following, and let's chat. I'll come live, and you can always listen, and I do bring people up towards the end of the live, and we have some real conversations. But for the first little bit, it's just a conversation. We talk about it, and yeah, we talk about autism on a daily basis. What's the difference between autism and a highly sensitive person? Good question. So autism has specific diagnostic criteria, mostly in two domains. One is a social domain that includes things like communication, relationships. The other domain is the sensory domain, which can include repetitive behaviors and sensitivities, can restricted eating, restricted behaviors, hand flapping, things like that. And so it's not just having a sensory need. It's also not just not being able to talk. That's an oversimplification. There's specific criteria that have to be met within both domains to qualify for autism. Where do you draw the line when it comes to enabling and accommodating? I think the world needs to be way more accommodating to people with disabilities. So I'm not sure what the debate there is, but absolutely way more. The world is not built for autistic people, and I wish it was. I'm seeing a lot of questions. Monty, I see your question. Yeah, I started talking later today, Mrs. Vander. I'm on late today. Just got on a little bit ago. Sorry for the late. Getting on here late. Okay, so autism and ADHD. Let's talk about autism and ADHD. If you or your child are diagnosed with ADHD, put ADHD in the chat. Do we have anyone diagnosed with ADHD here, or your child? Put ADHD. Okay, we do have some people. Okay, let me tell you. About 50% of autistic people are also diagnosed with ADHD. 50%. It's a lot. 10% of people with ADHD are diagnosed with autism. That's a lot. A lot of people think autism and ADHD are the same spectrum. That is not true. In fact, it wasn't until 2013 that someone could actually have a diagnosis of both. Before 2013, if you were autistic, you were told, oh, ADHD is just part of it. You can't be diagnosed with that too. It's just part of it. But as they've researched it, they've found that they're very different. They're not on the same spectrum. In fact, they're kind of opposing diagnoses. Evil twins, someone called them. Evil twins. I like that. I might steal that. Yes, they're evil twins, you guys. They are opposing diagnoses. And the fact that 50% of autistic people are also diagnosed ADHD is heartbreaking because these diagnoses conflict with each other. So what do I mean by this? Well, autism. Autism craves stability. Autism craves routine, sameness, calmness from sensory input. What does ADHD crave? Novelty, change, doing the thing with the most reward right now. And so when someone is facing both ADHD and autism, engaging in any behavior dysregulates them either on the autism side or ADHD side. It is extremely challenging. And so I have a lot of compassion for people who are diagnosed with both because it can be extremely difficult to regulate the body. I'm a psychiatric clinician. I expect the autism criterion to change in DSM-6. Hey, just curious. Okay, cool. What kind of psychiatric clinician? What do you do? But I agree that the changes that they're looking at in the DSM-6 from what have been formal recommendations so far, I have only seen one really clear addition, and that is the addition of profound autism as another diagnosis, which you can give to someone who is over the age of 8 with an IQ of under 50 and who requires 24/7 support. And so I have heard that is something that has been proposed, but it is... Oh, very cool. Okay, cool. Well, how are you seeing that it's considering being changed? I'd love to hear your thoughts. But that's what I've heard about the DSM-6, that there's been a formal recommendation to parse out profound autism, but only to be diagnosed after the age of 8. The shocking thing is they expect about 25% of autistic people to fall within the profound autism range. When I heard that, that sounded way higher than I thought. So I'll be curious to hear if that goes through, if that is actually a change that happens in DSM-6. I'll be curious to hear what that looks like. Antonella says, my daughter has autism and an intellectual disability. That is a really good, really interesting thing to talk about here. Intellectual disabilities. Autism is not an intellectual disability. As much as I love that more kids are getting services, the diagnosis is currently unreliable at the time. I think that the levels are unreliable. The diagnosis itself has pretty clear criteria. I don't think that there's an overdiagnosis of autism. But I'd love to see data. If you have data, okay, cool. I'd love to see it. I think that there's more people than expected that fall on the spectrum. And I think it's such a broad spectrum that we could benefit from, the various profiles of autism that may be included down the road. Another thing that I hope is included is PDA, pathological demand avoidance, within autism. Okay, so intellectual disability is not, or autism is not an intellectual disability. And, but they co-occur a lot. And so when you see like that comment that my child has autism and an intellectual disability, they do co-occur. But just because you have an autism diagnosis doesn't mean that you have an intellectual disability. Intellectual disability refers to the way that you are able to interact with the world, as far as, so like, quite often it's based on IQ below 70, I believe it can be diagnosed with an intellectual disability. And there's other criteria as well. I wish that was 2. I think my daughter has PDA. Can you describe PDA, please? Yeah, let's talk about PDA, pathological demand avoidance. So pathological demand avoidance refers to a profile of autism that is not included in the current version of the diagnostic criteria in the United States. Outside of the United States, in the UK, it is, but it's growing in understanding and popularity in the United States as well. And pathological demand avoidance essentially says that some people with autism have such a drive for autonomy, to have control over themselves and their decisions and what they do, such a desire to be in control. Thank you, Autism Mama. I appreciate that. Some people with autism have such a desire to be in control that any threat to that is just as real as though it was a physical threat on their life. For example, a parent telling their child to put their shoes on can feel like a parent just told them to go put their hand on the hot stove. They have the same reaction, a real physical reaction to being told to do something that they don't want to do. And it helps to have that understanding that is how your child is experiencing things, because it can change how you work with the child. If you have a child with PDA, you're going to benefit from increasing self-management skills from a very early age. I mean, it could be a good thing. They want to do it themselves so badly that it can be really reinforcing to enable them to make the right decision themselves. What does this look like? Well, it can start with forced choices. Instead of saying, go get your shoes on, you say, hey, we're leaving in a few minutes. Do you want to put your shoes on now or in 5 minutes? And they say, oh, I want to do it in 5 minutes. And they are in control. Maybe you help them set a timer so that they know when to do it. So you don't even have to ask them to do it. You take away their choice. You give them the choice. You take away the control. And suddenly you're supporting them and encouraging some self-management strategies with them. So a good place to start quite often is some of this forced choice. So what is the difference between ODD and PDA? I got to be honest with you, there's a lot of overlap. The big difference is that ODD is a standalone diagnosis. PDA is a profile of autism. Thank you for the confetti. I appreciate that. I really do. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and keep this conversation going. We do have some comments over on the YT platform. Again, if you really want to make sure I read something that you're saying, hop on over to the YT platform. I can't say the full name, but it is linked in my bio above. And let's go ahead and read some of that. How is helping an ADHD autistic kid different from an ADHD or an autistic kid? Okay, good question. So if you have both, I think the biggest thing is recognizing how challenging it can be and have empathy for the child and the struggles that they have. We know that with autism, there's no default diet or medication or supplement that your child needs simply because they're diagnosed with autism. ADHD, however, does have some very, very good research on medications that support core features of ADHD. And if you have both ADHD and autism and you decide to go the route of medications, do not let any other parent shame you. You are doing the best that you can. You are supporting your child the best way that you can. And, if my child were diagnosed with both, that would be something that we would consult with our doctor about absolutely and consider. Do not shame each other, you guys. The very real challenge of these competing diagnoses of ADHD and autism absolutely warrant the use of medications in many circumstances. All right. Stacy says, I need you to answer my questions. Oh, I saw that one, but I didn't see the question that you said. Put it in again. We'll see. Oh, my son has autism. Hit his teens, and they found 2 bleeds on his brain. Is this an autism trait? I have not heard of any correlation between brain bleeding and autism. That is terrifying. I'm so sorry, Stacy. What are they saying? He has brain bleeds. That's so scary. Recently went to hospital with my autistic child, 8 years old. It was a nightmare. Guys, why do our autistic children always end up in the emergency rooms? Put it in the chat. How many times has your autistic child ended up in the emergency room? For me, it's 2. It's 2 for me. What about you guys? Why is the emergency room such a common place that our kids end up? Okay, I'm glad I'm not alone. 4, 2, 5, a few. Okay, my ex who has ADHD and autism would get into these aggressive moods with me. He's not on meds. What can I do? You need to keep yourself safe. It is not your job to fix your spouse. And if they're in aggressive moods, and that includes any type of violence towards you, you need to get yourself safe. You don't need to be responsible for fixing it. You need to keep you safe. You need to keep your children safe. You said X. So hopefully you're not living together. But don't be around him. He is not yours to fix. Sped Para here. I often feel torn because parents refuse to put kids on meds, and I can't see the rest of that. Let me see. Okay. Or CKBA. Yeah, it is frustrating. We got to respect that the parents know best. What breaks my heart is when parents feel like they shouldn't do that because they feel pressure or judgment from other parents. And I want to make sure if that's what you're doing, if you shame people for being on medications that they are consulting with medical professionals about, I encourage you to take a step back. Start with love, start with empathy, start with understanding. Okay. Oh, hey, Yoli Rivera. Good to see you on here. Ash says, my kid psychiatrist wants to put my son on some medications. he has ADHD and autistic. Is that a good mix, or will they mix badly? I don't speak on that. I can't speak on medications. I would recommend, if it's a psychiatrist, absolutely, I would trust them. I would just bring up those concerns with them. And if you want a second opinion, you can ask them if they have another psychiatrist you can run it past. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, there were 36,000 likes over here. Yeah, I don't have kids, but I was all the time for broken bones. Oh, yes. Okay. Also, why do we not have state or federal funding for teaching our exceptional kiddos how to float and swim? Thank you, Jessica. Thank you. Oh, my goodness. That is such a good point. You guys, swimming. Why do we care so much about swimming? Do you guys know? What's this obsession about swimming and autism? I'll tell you. It's not just because swimming can be fun or engaging, but the leading cause of kids with autism unaliving is drowning. I pull a different news article every day, and every day I see another child that has drowned. It's awful. It's terrifying. It's terrible. That's why our second clinic that we opened in the state of Utah, I bought a building with an indoor pool, securely separated, and hired adaptive swim teachers who are able to focus on water safety during ABA. That's what we need to be doing. That's what blows my mind, you guys. If we look at behaviors and skills that can actually save lives, why doesn't ABA address swimming more often and water safety? That really needs to be brought up more. Bree, thank you so much for the hand heart. Let's see. Let's go ahead and continue reading some of these on the YT platform. I'll share your posts everywhere. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I woke up in the night as a kid, broke my ankle by tripping on a pirate ship, went to the bathroom, and went back to bed. Woke up 6 hours later, walked out, and calmly told my mother, who didn't believe me. What kid goes back to bed? Guys, wow, that is incredible. Are you autistic? Are you on the spectrum? I do know some people with autism do have variables pain tolerance. That sometimes this hypersensitivity is hyposensitivity instead. Fascinating. What's the difference between being autistic and being on the spectrum? It's the same thing. Being on the spectrum refers to being on the autism spectrum. And you could say you're autistic. You could say you're on the spectrum. It means the same thing. Ash says, my regional center does pay for swim lessons for our kiddos. That's incredible. Sir, do I have autism? I don't know. I don't know if you do. That's a good question. Something you should think about. You should take a screener. I have a screener in my bio, one for toddlers, if you're wondering if your toddler is autistic. One for adults called the RADS 14 that you can take in the bio. Discuss rejection sensitivity in adults with later diagnosis ADHD. Lexi, I see a post that I'm not quite sure what to talk about with that. I'll have to think on that one. All right. Rhea took the screener yesterday. That's good. My 5-year-old. Oh, pica and autism. Pica, you guys, is scary. Mackenzie says, yes, I'm autistic and ADHD. They made me walk on it for 40 minutes and I didn't show any emotion, so they didn't believe me. And I went to the hospital. The doctors didn't believe me either until the x-ray. Oh my gosh. Okay, so pica is terrifying, you guys. Pica. P-I-C-A. Pica. Put pica in the chat if your child engages in pica. Pica refers to eating non-edible items. Now, when your child engages in that, there's a couple factors. One, anytime your child begins to engage in a new behavior, it's a change in behavior, you're going to want to get it ruled out medically. Sometimes pica can indicate some concerns with labs or concerns with nutrient levels and things like that you should rule out with a doctor. My son started a new behavior of mouthing everything, of putting everything in his mouth. And we went and I got his teeth checked. and we cleared him medically before even bringing it up to ABA. After the dentist said, yeah, no cavities, his teeth look good, then I said, okay, now I'm concerned about this because he's getting all of his clothes wet. He's having to change multiple times. That causes bigger frustrations because he doesn't like changing his clothes. So, yeah, keep in mind to rule out medical factors first. Always do that. And then you can talk about some of those other things of how to address pica. Just know it is a concern. I mean, eating things that you shouldn't, it can cause problems if they're start eating batteries or something like that. And so you're going to want to, that's one of those that's first rule out medically, and then you're going to work with your care team, you guys. I talk about this all the time. Part 3 of the autism journey is build your care team. Who should be on your care team? Guys, I'm curious. Who is on your care team? Who are the professionals in your life? Put it in the chat. Is it school? Do you have ABA? What kind of therapies do you do? Put it in the chat. Do you do ABA therapy? Do you do occupational therapy? What about speech therapy? The doctor? Yes. Okay. If you have a doctor, that's amazing. ABA 7 hours a day. Yes. Okay. Occupational therapy. PT, physical therapy, neuro, speech, adaptive sports. Bree, oh my goodness. I don't know. That is a lot. You are doing a lot. That is incredible. Okay. So let me break down. Here is, if you're wondering who should be in my child's life, let me first say, you don't need to know everything about helping your child. You don't need to know what all the experts know. What you need to know is, how do I build the best care team? That's all that you need to know. How do I build my team? How do I build the people to actually come and help? How do I know what to do in this situation? Well, you better have an occupational therapist, a speech therapist, and an ABA therapist ready to go. Let me ask you guys this. Anyone here do traditional like mental health therapy for their child? Put therapy in the chat if your child does mental health therapy. Oh, thank you for the hand heart. You guys, oh my gosh, Bree and Afi, thank you for the hand hearts, you guys. I really appreciate that. We do have people that their children do therapy. You guys, if your child can communicate well and they have a high level of anxiety or depression or other mental health concerns, therapy, typical talk therapy, mental health therapy can be very beneficial. Now, for your child. Now, when they're young, they can still do therapy. And it's called play therapy. Play therapy that's not referring to like ABA that's doing play therapy, that you do therapy while you play. Play therapy is usually referring to playing while doing talk therapy, mental health therapy. Put play therapy in the chat if your child does play therapy. I want to know if anyone in here, if their child does play therapy, where it's with like a LCSW. Kenzie's with the hand heart. You guys are going crazy with the hand hearts today. Thank you so much. Okay, we got some people that do it. Guys, don't shy away from that. They can do wonders with anxiety and depression. I guess what I want to take away from you is, as an autism parent, I want to take all the stress. Well, first, let me say this. As an autism parent, I feel like I have so much stress. I am carrying the world on my shoulders, but my back is about to break at all times. And one of the main points of this live that I do every single day, whoa, Renee, thank you for the Night Star. That was really cool. One of the things I try to do on this live stream is take all that's on your shoulders and tell you, you don't need to carry all of that. It doesn't just have to be you. You can have a care team. Pam, thank you so much for the confetti. You can have a care team who can be experts in these different things that takes off just a little bit off your shoulders, saying that holy cow, Kenzie's. What is that? That is amazing. Holy cow. Valerie says, I also do mental health therapy for myself. Yes, I do too. You guys, I do mental health therapy too. And it's amazing. It's wonderful. And so, yeah, guys, I hope to take some of that off of you so that you know you don't have to do this alone. Another way to do that is the first part of this village is to build a village. Okay? One of the first parts of this autism journey is you need to build a village. I need to go golfing, you guys. That's what I need to do. It's been too long. It's been a couple weeks. And this is what I'm talking about. You have a village, then you can go out and you can do hobbies for yourself. Let me ask you guys, it's been 2 weeks for me. When was the last time you went and did something just for you? When was the last time, as an autism parent, that you left the house without worrying about your child and you went and did something just for you? Years? Years, you guys. Years. You don't remember. Oh, man. Guys, this is what I'm talking about. You got to build a village. You got to have people around you who are supporting you and caring for you. And if you don't have that, you don't just say, oh, well. You can't. You have to say, I will build this village. I will join a Facebook group for my local area for autism parent get-togethers. Okay? You will meet one friend there, and then you will invite them over for a play date. Boom. It's that easy. It's that easy. I know for some of you that's terrifying. Those of you with social anxiety, that's terrifying to think about going and inviting a friend over for a play date. But that is one good place that you can start. Here's another place. Bake some cookies. Go take them over to your neighbors. Introduce yourselves to your neighbors. Go bake cookies for your neighbors. You can do that. I know you can. I know you can do that. Build your village, you guys, because it's just like they tell you on the airplane, you got to put your mask on before you help someone else. You need a village so that you don't burn out. And I think some of y'all are too close to burning out. In fact, I burned out the other day. I lost it, you guys. I had a full meltdown because I was overwhelmed. I cry. Yeah. Ivy, me too. Me too. It can be lonely. It can be a lot. Over on the YT platform, let me go ahead and read some of this. Okay. Not sure. I missed it. I have 2 and 4-year-old boys' haircuts and dentist visits are so stressful. We all cried. Oh, my goodness. Jessica, wow. Look, the haircuts are hard. Dentists are hard too. But those are skills that can be worked on. You can work on tolerance. You can make it so through repeated exposures to doing that thing, it doesn't hurt as bad or it's not as painful mentally for that person. It can be something that's worked on. Okay, Jessica or Sindel over on YT platform says, I'm 53 years old. What is a proper question to ask to get diagnosed without getting dismissed? Okay, what you're going to want to do, if you're wondering if you're autistic, you need to take a screener, okay? Now, don't just take some random test online. There are a few that are appropriate for adults, okay? I'm going to give you the names of 3. The easiest and quickest is linked in my bio. It's called the RADS 14. You can find it in my bio, but you could also find it anywhere. It's only 14 questions. It's a condensed version of the full RADS, which is 80 questions. So those are 2 options, the RADS 14 or the RADS. The RADS are. Now the third is the AQ. You can look up AQ Autism Screener Adult. And I think it's 50 questions. And based on your scores there, when you go and you ask if you get diagnose or if those screeners indicate a likelihood of autism, then you can go and schedule directly with a psychologist. And the psychologist might say, hey, your primary care needs to send in a referral. And that's just going to your doctor and saying, hey, look, I took these tests. They indicate it's high likelihood of autism. I want to go get evaluated. Okay, more on the YT platform. What do you think of stem cells activators? And more. So there are actually some exciting research being done about stem cells. Now, the therapy that's being done that you have to go and pay $20,000, don't go and do that. That's not FDA approved. It's not recommended. It's not something that is worth your money. I would not recommend doing that. It's not widely recommended. It's still early stages of research. And there's other ways they're studying stem cell therapy that may be even more efficient. There was one that just came out this week of using stem cells to reverse autism traits in rats. And it was, a really fascinating study. Usually those studies don't convert to human trials and don't transition well. So right now, what I'll say is leave the stem cell stuff to the research for now. That's what I'll say. It's not worth the money. Okay. We had no village. Today, as my kid was playing baseball, his teachers, vice principal, and the head of the special ed department came to cheer on my son and all the exceptional kids on the team. Jessica, that is amazing. Having support of the teacher, the principal, all of the specialists around her child. I love that. Thank you, Sindel. Thank you. Okay, my son is spectrum, had a short relationship, and he had an anxiety attack and then got catatonic. Oh, that's terrifying. Terrifying. Yeah, don't do the stem cell therapy stuff. That's not recommended. It's not FDA approved. If you do it as part of a clinical trial so that you can do it as part of research. However, even then, I've heard of research trials that are doing are doing a clinical trial on stem cells, and they still make you pay like $15,000, and you don't know if you're getting the real stem cells or the placebo. And so stem cells, maybe I'm misunderstanding, but that's what I heard. Hi, Charlene. Good to see ya. What can I do in those catatonic events? You need to describe a little bit more about the exact situation for me to know. How old is he? What was he doing before and during and after? I need to know a little bit more. How do I explain my lack of self-awareness of myself, hunger, full, pain, etc. to my partner? Carney, wow, what a good question. Are you autistic? Because a lot of times there is this hyposensitivity to your body's sensory inputs. That can be common with autism. So many parents need resources and have no clue where to go. You guys, if that describes you, that comment, download my ebook. It's free. It's 30 pages. It's a quick read. It's an easy read. And it breaks down the 5 parts of the autism journey. Because my guess is if you're new to this journey, you're going to try to do way more than you need to. You've probably already been tried to be sold detox protocols, special diets, supplements that, are guided on expensive tests that you had done. All of that is not recommended. That's not what any professional, widely respected autism or pediatric committee or advisory board recommends. So I break down the very basics of these steps of the autism journey. It's linked to my bio. Send it to someone. If you know someone that their kid just got diagnosed, send them a link to my ebook. I want everyone to have it. I want it out everywhere. Just because people overcomplicate this. And what it looks like to actually care for your child who's autistic has a lot more to do with how you're taking care of yourself than it does what you're doing for your child, because your child needs you. Your child needs you regulated and calm. Child needs you to not lose yourself in this journey, because either you're going to grow to resent your child for it or they'll grow to resent you. You need to still maintain your own personhood throughout this journey. All right. I have autism. How do I explain that I don't always understand social cues to my husband? May, let me tell you one way that I have heard it described that I think resonates with a lot of people. And you could tell your husband this. What I would say is, husband, let me tell you how I feel a little bit and understanding social cues where I'm at. What it feels like to me is that I am performing in a play, and you're in this play, and our kids are in this play, and everyone else in society is in this play performing, and everyone else has the lines. They were given a script. I got no script. And yet here I am performing in front of a live audience, not knowing what to say because I was never given that script. And when I say the wrong thing, people laugh. And when I don't say something when I should have, people judge me or get offended. And I don't have the script, and I'm not sure how to do this in every situation. And sometimes what I need from you as my husband is is I need you to help me have that script sometimes in these hard social situations. What might that look like for you? Well, that might be asking your husband to, before you make a phone call, helping you practice or give you the words to say, not necessarily doing it for you. They need pattern and sequences. Thank you, Patricia. That is good. Yeah, Jessica, I have an ebook. It just got released this week, or maybe it was last week. But guys, it is phenomenal, and I can say that because my wife helped me so much with it. I put a lot of it together, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, let me rewrite this," and I'm like, "You ought to just put your name down as the author." And she ended up putting her name down as the illustrator, but she helped me out with it, you guys. Brooklyn is the best. She's on these lives a lot, and she's amazing. The ebook is in my link tree in my bio, guys. It is phenomenal. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't toot my own horn, but my wife helped me so much with it that it's really a praise to her. There are 5 parts of the autism journey that we break down in this. And what those 5 are, okay, is you need to build your village. And that village usually includes your spouse. I go on a huge rant. This is something I'm really passionate about, is if your spouse is not on the same page as you, and you are not splitting the mental load or the physical load of parenting a child with disabilities, usually that is the first place to start with building a village. You need a partner who you can rely on as part of your village. So build a village. The next step is get clarity. That's getting a diagnosis. The third part is build your care team. So what therapies do you need? And I break down what therapies are typically recommended and what situation should you do which therapy. And all of this is evidence-based. With that, we talk about how to learn. Step 4 is learning about autism. And what are those misinformations and things that you don't need to worry about, like the special diets and the detoxes, the stuff that people are trying to sell you, okay? I don't sell anything right now. Maybe someday. I told my wife she needs to write a children's book. She is incredible about autism. But I right now I don't sell anything. This isn't a platform to sell stuff. Selling stuff isn't always bad either, but when it's misinformation and you're giving false hope to parents, I tell you to watch out. So that's the 4th step, is learn all you can about autism. 5th step is planning for the future. Think about trust. Think about ABLE accounts. Think about applying for home and community-based services, and we talk about that. So 5 parts of this journey. Hey, autism in women who've been masking because they unaware their ADHD trigger narcissists a lot. Oh, hey, I'm not quite sure what the question is, but I will answer to the best of my ability that I do think there's a lot of women who have been masking throughout their entire life. I think that you were told as a woman that you need to act like a lady when you were a young girl. I think that you were pressured with different pressure than boys have to mask. And I think you masked earlier. And I do think that can lead to a lot of challenges in life. All right, you guys, keep on going. Keep on putting those questions in the chat. How did the dynamic between you and your wife change when you realized you had an exceptional child? How do you balance giving both kiddos the same amount of attention and support? Jessica, oh my gosh. That is probably the best. That's the question of the day right there, you guys. Let me read this again. How did the dynamic change between you and your wife when you realized you had an exceptional child? How do you balance giving both kiddos the same amount of attention and support? Okay, first of all, we got 4 kids, and I don't share this very often. We were done with our 3rd. Before we knew he was autistic, we were done having kids. My wife was on birth control, and we had a surprise about a year and a half later. My daughter, they're about a year and a half apart, and so what a wild thing. And we were blessed now with our 2 youngest being autistic, and it absolutely changes things. The label doesn't, Having the label of autism didn't change it. But what has changed it is this idea that we can't go out together very much. You know what we've had to do? We have said we still need our hobbies, but we can't always find a sitter that can take care of 4 children, 2 diagnosed with autism. We have a couple family members that help us out a lot. And so sometimes we can, but we end up doing things on our own. So a month ago, I went to a movie and then she went to a movie. We went to the movies by ourselves, and that can put a strain. Have you guys heard about divorce and disability? This is an important topic. Mackenzie, I'll answer that. Let me get through this part. Divorce and autism and disability parents. People on the internet say it's 80% of marriages end in divorce when they have a child with disabilities. That statistic's not accurate, but there are studies to suggest that it's higher when you have a child with disabilities. My thoughts on this are that it's not because a child ruins your life or ruins the marriage. It is because the child exposes inequity in relationships. First thing that happens is one parent who's at home with the child, maybe they have to give up, their career because their child requires more support. And then the resentment maybe starts to build from there. Maybe, that parent that's staying home finds that they have to deal with the bulk of the mental load of running the house, and they don't feel the support of their spouse. And you start feeling this inequity in a relationship of this mental load. And then over time, that resentment can build. It's a hard thing. It's something you have to be really focused on. Something that I have done, my wife and I have done together, is this. I didn't make this. I'm not selling this. It's the Fair Play deck. Have you guys done this? The Fair Play deck? It goes through and breaks down so many tasks of the day, throughout the day, that you can look at and be like, okay, who is over this? Who is in charge of packing and unpacking when you travel? Who is in charge of the weekend plans? Who manages bills and the money? Who manages screen time for kids? Who's over bathing and grooming? And you can go through these and sort who is over what. And that can really help ensure that the mental load is even. And I'm still, Mackenzie, going to get to your question, but I saw one that I have to address first because it can impact someone's health, and I don't want to miss it. Monty said, I did a heavy metal detox on my son, and now he won't eat anything. You might need to go to the doctor. I need you to be really careful about the heavy metal detoxing. Guys, avoid heavy metal detoxes for autistic kids. Your child is not toxic. Heavy metal toxins didn't cause the autism. And there is zero evidence to suggest that detoxing changes autistic traits. Gut health is important. That's not the same as detoxing. Gut health means you add a variety of foods. It's not a gluten-free diet. It's not a dairy-free diet. It's none of that. It is a wide variety of foods, you guys. That is what promotes gut health. If you go to the doctor and you say, hey, my son is constipated, he has GI issues, which people with autism are more likely to have, gut-related issues, they're not going to say go gluten and dairy-free unless you have a significant intolerance or allergy, celiac disease, something like that. They're going to say, oh, don't take foods away. We need them to eat a wider variety of foods. That's what helps the gut microbiome. Okay, you guys. Mackenzie says, let's see. What it's called, how I can hear languages I don't speak, then mimic them perfectly, like Bella Ciao I learned in about 10 to 20 minutes and can repeat it perfectly. What's that called? It's got to be mimicry. Okay, Mackenzie, I'm not totally sure what that would be called. Echoing is a term used, and a lot of autistic folks are echoing a lot. It kind of reminds me of Gestalt language processing, to be honest with you. Gestalt language processing refers to like hearing language, absorbing the words entirely, but not like learning the language. And so a Gestalt language processor, when they're, a baby or a toddler learning to speak, they're going to learn, full sentences. They can repeat, full phrases back to you, but they might not fully understand what those phrases are. It's like, yeah, and I've never heard GLP, Gestalt language processing, described when learning or imitating foreign language, but it could be something similar. Jessica says, I have 2 kiddos on the spectrum. We each take 1 kid and sleep separate. Dad and I haven't had a date in almost 5 years. We love our children. We both have silent sacrifices we make. It unifies our marriage. I thank God for our willingness and commitment to our marriage and our children. Jessica, thank you so much for sharing that. I love that. Love, love, love. Let's see here. Is Lexi still on? If Lexi's on and she wants to come up, you can. If you guys want to, or Destiny or Amy, if you guys want to come up, you're welcome to. Anyone have a question for me? We can do questions today and come up. Hey, Lexi, how you doing? How's the Saturday treating you?
Hey, good afternoon. Good. Just here with my cousin, trying to help her clear out her trailer. She had a car crash into her trailer
Oh my goodness.
on Monday. Yeah, and it completely destroyed one side of her trailer. So throughout the week, she's been taking out things little by little. And today, me and a couple of my friends decided to come out and help her. So we're taking a break right now, though. So perfect time.
I love that. Hey, Patriot just said vaccines ... I don't know what that has to do with autism on here. That's kind of a weird thing to say in an autism live. Patriot, not sure what you're talking about there. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and if you have questions, go ahead and request up. Scars, let's see if Scars can get loaded in here. Well, hi, Scars.
Hello.
Where are you from?
I'm from Indiana.
Indiana. How can we help you today?
Well, I'm just completely lost and I don't know what to do. We have, me and my husband have 3 sons. They're grown, but I have a granddaughter that definitely, the doctor at 2 has said she's at least got Asperger's, and I don't even think they call it that anymore.
No, it'd be
with
level
the
1
research.
autism is likely what it would be called. Now, are you a caregiver of your granddaughter?
Yes, I have him. The parents aren't together. They have joint custody, and I have her at least 1 or 2 times a week.
Oh, wow.
And I'm 62, but I feel like the kids aren't really working with her the way that I've worked with her, and I'm drowning because I think we're making progress, and at this point I would say she's nonverbal.
Yeah.
She'll say ma'am, she'll say pap pap on occasion.
She's 2?
She's 2. She just turned 2 in March.
Now, what
They
do the
won't
parents
test her
think?
till she's 3.
Who won't test her till she's 3?
Her doctor, her physician. I've already went rounds.
So here's the thing: is the doctor can say that he doesn't recommend it till 3, but here, oh man, I got to tell you that this wait and see kind of attitude is so harmful because
I'm
child,
broken.
when a child needs support like this, you have such incredible outcomes the earlier that they start, and so waiting a year to be able to start getting services could be detrimental to her long-term progress. And so here's the thing is you don't need, typically you don't need your doctor's referral to be able to go and get evaluated. Your doctor isn't the one who would diagnose autism. Most doctors don't test for autism. It's a specialized thing that developmental pediatricians might, but usually it's just a psychologist. And what do the parents think? Are they open to an autism diagnosis?
Oh, absolutely. I think mom used it as an excuse, and sometimes, well, my daughter is nonverbal autistic. And that's not true. She is. I do believe she's higher than level 1. She's still only saying 3 or 4 words. I've been working with her, and please tell me if I'm doing this wrong. Like, I give her choices because she has such a bad temper. I
Yeah.
mean, bang her head on the wall.
When she can't get what she wants.
Right, because, well, I think it's because she's confused. I try to communicate, like, if she wants a snack or a drink and I'm holding like puff snacks in my hand, I
Yeah.
give her a choice.
Yep.
If I don't, she'll slap it away or she'll slap it off the table when she gets mad. She doesn't understand consequences. So I'm really worried that
Yeah.
we have to wait another year.
Yeah. You cannot
Kylan,
afford it.
I am.
You can't afford to wait. And
I'm
here's what I do. Here's
terrified.
what I would do. And I had to do this. So I don't feel bad telling other people to do this. To me, it's so important to get that early intervention and early care of having that diagnosis that I would call every psychologist within a 5-hour radius of my home to find out how long their wait list is and to get on the wait list. Some might say it's a year wait list. Others might say,
Right.
in a month they can do it. And so I would call around every single psychologist within a 5-hour radius. I would schedule the earliest I could, and I would go and get the evaluation done, because what that's going to do is open up options for therapies. Now, you might already have some options. Have they done any early intervention yet?
She's in physical therapy
Okay,
every other week,
good.
and she used to be in speech therapy. I don't know if she's doing that again because sometimes I take her out and say we're going to give her, break or whatever, which I don't understand. But she always goes to physical therapy. They're
Okay,
always
good.
working. She can't pick up a ball and put it in a bucket. She
Yeah.
doesn't understand that concept.
She sounds very similar to where my son was at the age of 2. To be honest with you, and it's a terrifying thing. And as the grandparent, I mean, you can't go out and schedule these things. You got to get the parents to do it. But I would tell them, like, we cannot afford to wait, because the longer you wait, the less likely it is that your child is going to catch up or make as much progress as they potentially could. And so I would also be like hearing hearing what you're saying. Speech therapy sounds like it's super critical, and they need to resume that. And
I agree.
so
I'm
resume speech
mad.
therapy. We got the physical therapy. That's great. Now, a lot of times they'll also offer occupational therapy in these programs. And so look and see if you can be doing that in the meantime. But then as soon as you get the autism diagnosis, that opens the door to this other therapy called ABA therapy. Have you heard of that one before?
I haven't got that far into
Okay.
it because I'm so scared. I mean, I've been following you for a while,
Yeah.
and and I need to go over to Facebook because I want to join that. But
Yeah. Do it.
so much false information, like with the vaccines,
Oh my
or
gosh. It's
I'm
ridiculous.
so scared because I don't know,
Yeah,
I
there's
don't know what
so
to
much
do to
misinformation.
help.
Everyone wants to point fingers, and everyone wants to judge parents and say it's their disciplining and all of that. And here's the thing. So ABA therapy is intensive. It can be up to 30 hours a week that you can go and take your child to a clinic. And to the kid, it just feels like they go and they play for 6 hours a day.
Right.
But behind the scenes, they have treatment plans. They have goals. They're intensely working on all of these developmental milestones that they're going to help them hit. And so, but you can't qualify unless you have the autism diagnosis. And so, here are the steps for you, okay? That I want to recommend for you to recommend to. Is it your daughter or your son?
No, it's my son,
Okay, I
and
want.
and they listen to me. I don't think I'll have a problem.
Oh, good, good.
Yeah, because
Here's
she
what I'm
also
going to
wears
recommend.
glasses.
Immediately today, or it's the weekend, Monday, let's get back into speech therapy. So we're doing PT, speech, and see if they can do occupational therapy. We should be doing all 3 of those and ask for as many hours as you can. If your child's 2 and only has 3 or 4 words, we need all 3 of those things right now. And then I want you to go and call every psychologist. Does this child have health insurance?
Yes.
Medicaid?
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to call everywhere within, start with the closest around you and see if they have availability to do an evaluations. You just Google autism evaluation near me. And you can go, I mean, there's going to be options. You call everywhere around you and get that scheduled. Don't listen to the pediatrician to wait. That is bad info. That's old info.
I say I feel that. And after listening to you and reading what I can read and trying to decipher, you know, like I said, I raised 3 boys and I ended up raising my grandson because my son passed away, my oldest.
Yeah.
So what I see in her, and then she does that, what's that called? Where she's moving her hands
Yeah,
a
stimming.
lot.
Yeah.
Yes, I never
Okay.
can remember that word. I want to say flapping, and I know
You can
that's
say
not
flapping.
funny.
Flapping hands.
I
yeah.
mean,
That's
she does that.
describing what
It
it's doing.
seems like when
Stimming
she
is a
gets
general word. Think of stimulation. So stimming,
okay,
like
that
stimulate.
that helped me out.
Yeah.
I, you know, she doesn't sleep well.
Oh yeah.
I do give the doctor did, tell her she could have melatonin. It has worked. But I mean, she won't feed herself. Well, she'll feed herself with her hands, but I mean,
Look,
I'm literally
there's a lot of
I'm
support that they
dying.
need. You're dying. The parents are dying, and most importantly, this girl isn't getting the support that she needs. And so, I'm so grateful that you came up. Please relay this info to her parents. Support them with all that they can do. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next
I
person.
have one more thing to
Oh,
say, if
of course,
that's okay,
Lexi. Go
Kevin.
ahead.
Also, if in your general area you have a Head Start program,
We
Head
do.
Start starts from the age of pregnancy, actually, all the way up until age 5. If you can't get ABA therapy, Head Start also refers children out for speech therapy. They do work on like feeding, maybe not as intensely as your child may need, but it could be a start just to have her in some sort of program and to get a professional documentation that your child or your grandchild, sorry, in this case, is delayed. And that could help you with your diagnosis and everything like that. So it's something to kind of look into. I worked for the Head Start program for about 3 years, and we had children that we had to refer out, especially the ones that had autism that needed higher support needs. So it helped with the diagnosis from a doctor, and it also helped with getting more services for the families. So I would suggest that just in case you
Okay,
can't
well,
get
I appreciate
to them.
that. And
Hmm.
sir, I appreciate you doing what you do. I've been trying to get up for a while. I
Oh,
know
I'm
you get
sorry.
slammed. No, I know you get slammed. And but
Thank you so
I
much for coming
when
up.
you feel like you're drowning, you want to do what's best, and you just got so many so much to go through. But I don't want to take up any more of your time so you can help other people. But
Thank
thank
you
you
so.
so
Keep
much,
us
and I
updated,
will.
Scars. Come back in and
I
update
will.
us. All right.
I watch you every time you're live
Oh,
when I
I love
can.
that. Thank you. Thank you so much for being
Okay.
here. All right.
Thank you so much to both of you. You
You have a
have
good
an
one.
amazing day.
All right.
God bless.
Bye. All right. I need to talk about Patriot here. As the number of vaccines has increased, so has autism. May not be the only cause, but it's related. Okay, Patriot. Don't be scaring people in my chat here about vaccines. That what you're saying, the number of vaccines have increased and therefore autism has increased, that those are two things that may be true, but it's, you know what else has increased as autism has increased? Computer usage, Wi-Fi, screen time. Are you saying those things cause autism just because they increased along the same time? Look, this has been studied over and over. There are dozens of studies that show no correlation, not even causation. It doesn't deserve to be studied at the causation level because it hasn't even been able to demonstrate a correlational relationship between vaccines and autism. So you don't need to be spreading that kind of info on these lives. All right. Just Peachy says, my family all say it's vaccinations. Ah, I hate that. Okay. My son is 1 and 6 months. He only says mom, baba, no, add that. Is it normal? Reem, depends. You can go, so at 1.5 years old, you can do the M chat. It's linked to my bio, and that can tell you low, moderate, or high risk for autism. I recommend you go and do that. What are good questions to ask a BCBA at intake call for in-home ABA? That is a good question, Nat. Wow, what a good question. Number one thing that you're going to want to ask a BCBA during the intake is, how often can I expect you in my home? And I'm not talking about the technician. If you're new to ABA, you should know the technician doesn't have education in autism or ABA. They're new, typically. And the clinician is the person training them. And they're supposed to supervise around 10% of the cases. But a lot of BCBAs just end up doing it remotely. And when they do it remotely, it's not good training. Sometimes people do good over remote. I'm not saying this is always the case. But I would ask, how often can you come in person to supervise my child and to supervise the RBT? All right, let's bring up the next guest, you guys. Let's bring up the next guest.
Hi, can you hear me?
Mackenzie. I can hear you great. Where are you from?
I'm from Michigan.
Michigan.
So,
Love it.
yeah, I was diagnosed with autism and ADHD. I'm kind of nervous around people, so sorry.
You're okay.
But I was diagnosed with autism and ADHD, and I feel like a lot of my family has taken it as a personal failure. And I was wondering, why do you think that is, especially my father?
Yeah. How old are you?
I'm 24. I
When
work
were
a
you
full-time job.
diagnosed?
Yep, 24. I was just diagnosed a few
just-
months ago.
just now. Okay.
Yep. I'm an over-the-road truck driver, and I'm in a college for network engineering and cybersecurity. So, like, I've done well for myself, so I don't understand, like, why they're so, like, negative about it.
Yeah.
And they see it as such a negative thing. I don't get it.
How do you? What tells you that they are looking at it negatively? How do you know? What are they saying?
Well, I mean, there's been a few very hurtful comments. They've said things like, why would you tell people? Why do you want something wrong with you? Like when I was told I was going to get diagnosed, they told me that I sucked for doing it, and like other things. Yeah. But
Oh my gosh.
yeah, it's not been great.
Is it just
My
your
sister's
dad, or who all is
No.
saying this?
My sister's the only one that's supportive. My mom's dead. So
Okay.
my dad, he said some hurtful things. My grandmother, my aunts and uncles, pretty much the whole family except for my sister.
Wow. Well, you need to know that they're in the wrong, 100%. And there's still a stigma around autism. But I want you to know that you getting diagnosed and being open about it is one step in helping the world become more open to it. You as a 24-year-old, you're tough. You can handle this. But ensuring and normalizing autism more and more protects our little ones. That doesn't mean it's easy for you to hear. I'm sure for you, it was extremely validating. Was it how did you know you were autistic? What kind of made you look into that?
So before I was a truck driver, I was an RBT. So
Oh my goodness.
I worked. Yeah.
That's a little bit of a
Big
job
switch.
shift.
Yeah, I was a CNA before an RBT, so
Oh,
kind of
wow.
done everything.
Well, CNA to
Yeah.
RBT is understandable, but the jump to a truck driver, that's a leap there.
Yeah, yeah, it is. But I read over the DSM-5 and I studied it literally for like 100 hours. And I made a huge list and I brought it to my evaluator and they looked at me like, what?
They just signed the paper right then, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
How has the diagnosis helped you?
It's helped me a lot. Like when I was a kid, I had a lot of issues mentally with not really wanting to be here anymore. As an adult, I worked on that. And then I still felt like there was something broken and wrong with me my entire life. And then when I finally got diagnosed, I realized there's nothing wrong with me. My brain's just different. And so it's been like a really comfort to me. It's been a really big comfort in a way.
That's beautiful. And that right there is the only thing your family needs to hear. And if they can't get behind it, that speaks on them, not on you. That exactly how you said that makes it all worth it to do. You're understanding it. It has validated the feelings that you have had your whole life. That you're not coming down. I mean, your parents couldn't have diagnosed you or gotten you diagnosed because when you were a toddler, you wouldn't have qualified for the diagnosis because in 2013 is when the DSM-5 changed. When we had the
Mhm.
DSM-5, before then only those most profoundly impacted were diagnosed. And so, like, you're not mad at them for missing the diagnosis. I mean, everyone was missed. Society failed everybody. It wasn't your family failing them. But for you, this is what it has done for you. And sharing that with them, I think that that's all that you can do. And outside of that, it's not your job to make them understand it more. And yeah, that's all my thoughts.
Can I say?
I appreciate
Yeah,
it. I
Lexi,
mean,
go ahead, Lexi.
sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. Kenzie, I just want to tell you that you are amazing for doing everything that you needed to do to get clarity for yourself. Um, I think that sometimes from a parent's standpoint, and it's something that I blamed myself for. Sometimes as parents, we blame ourselves for not catching the signs early enough, not um, how do you say it? Like not being able to help our children out as early as possible. And sometimes that blame comes off, like the blame that we put on ourselves comes off on you. But I want you to know that regardless of what anybody says, if they're family, friends, or whatever, it doesn't matter. You are important, you are valued, you belong here, and you did what you did to get your diagnosis and to get clarity and to understand yourself better. And like Henry said, that's all you can do. Um, if your parent doesn't understand or doesn't comprehend, um, that's not your job to make them. It's their job as an adult to understand and
Yeah.
to be supportive. And if you don't have that support in your immediate family, I just want you to know that you'll always have that support here. And if you want to join our Discord or our autism support group on Facebook, we would definitely love to have you.
Yeah.
We all love everybody. No, we don't judge. We don't talk bad. We're a very positive space. So I would like to invite you to join us in our spaces and know that you have a village behind you and you're
Yeah.
not alone.
Yeah.
You guys, I mean, I really do appreciate everything and talking to me and that.
Of course. Of course. Hey, safe travels. Please drive safely on the road. I don't know if you're traveling right now, but take care and keep us posted on things. I hope things go well for you.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys.
All right. Bye. I want to touch just a little bit on some things I'm seeing in the comments, and it's coming from a good place. I'm not going to call this out um, by name at all, but I'm seeing some people talk about some extra testing to be done after you have a diagnosis. And I want to reassure you that right now the recommendation is genetic testing that the psychologist or your pediatrician is able to help you get set up with. Sometimes there are conditions that can be diagnosed as autism first, and then later you find other genetic things. This is different than the MTHFR test. That's not what I'm talking about. That's something that half of the world has. It's not necessarily tied to autism. Not worth your time to focus on that right now. With current research and knowledge, it's just not there. The other is like the OATS test. That's not something widely recommended by most pediatricians that you need to be doing. That can measure your various aspects of the gut and heavy metal levels, and typically it's a sales funnel is what you'll see is they do the OATS test. It's like, I'm trying to think of a good example. The one that always comes to my mind is whenever I go to like get my oil changed, I get a paperback that shows all the things wrong with my car, with like the levels in the red or whatever, and they're just the smallest things, and they try to get you to buy everything there. And a lot of people are like, "Yes, I'll just buy whatever you say," and it's a sales thing. It's the same thing with the OAT test. They come back and they'll color code it. They'll say, oh, it's in the red. Like these heavy metals are way too high. Like no wonder he's autistic. And that's just that's not accurate and not reflective. And detoxing based off of the results of the OAT test has not been found to improve autistic traits, because autism doesn't come from toxins. It doesn't come from your body not detoxing properly. I understand the clarity and wanting clarity, but I also want us to point out that a lot of it is based on fear of, we want to do the most for our kids, but there's a reason that insurance doesn't usually pay for something like the OAT test. And the detox stuff insurance doesn't pay for. If it were truly evidence-based, insurances would be all over covering it, because then they wouldn't have to do lifelong supports. Like, they wouldn't have to do ABA, which is far more expensive. Detox is way cheaper than that. So please just be cautious. There are like real medical needs and stuff that I'm not trying to discount here, but if your child's just diagnosed, don't feel stressed to do all those tests and things like that. You're doing too much. All right. Okay. Oh, yeah. Jenna says the one where they test your gut and brain and then balance it. Yeah. We don't need to worry about that. It's not a balancing issue. We're not trying to control the gut-brain axis. Your kid's autistic, and the brain developed like that in utero. And yeah, it could have been from toxins and pollutants and wildfire smoke and all these environmental factors that could have played a very small role while in utero. But once your child is born, those risk factors don't exist like that anymore. And it's not because of the levels of heavy metals or vaccines or anything like that. What are the negative consequences of masking? Okay, so, oh my goodness, I'm glad you asked that question. So masking, there are actually measurable negative impacts of masking. People who mask more often tend to have higher mental health problems, including anxiety, depression, and unaliving oneself. And so it's almost as though like hiding who you feel like you should be or who you are is not a healthy thing. And obviously we're not talking about the small things of like, yeah, even if you want to yell really loudly and you're in the middle of church and you're an adult, like, yeah, we're gonna save that for where it's appropriate. And that's not the kind of thing that we're talking about. But it's like forcing yourself to make eye contact when you don't have to, preventing yourself from stimming, really trying to hide at all times your autism, and putting yourself in a dysregulated state at all times for the sake of masking. Allow yourself to be who you are. Yes. Burnout. Thank you for saying that. Yes. I was told not to tell people my son has autism. I tell the whole world. And that's just my opinion. Why? Because I think my kids are the greatest. And I hope that they see my kids and they say, oh, he's autistic? Autism must be pretty cool then. All his cousins know. Everyone knows. Okay, let's see here. Okay. All right, I'm still fighting a cold, you guys, and if I sneak away now, I might go and get a rest in before I need to be up and helping everybody. So I think I'm going to call it a day, you guys. But if you're new here, let me just kind of introduce you guys a little bit to what we've been doing. Over on the YT platform, YouTube, I guess I'll just say, since I'm closing down here pretty soon. Over on YouTube, you're actually able to watch all my previous live streams. And so if you just can't get enough, feel free to hop over there and watch the previous ones. You just have to click on the live button, and it should show around 100 live streams that I've done. So go ahead and check that out. Now, I do go live on a daily basis. I'm a board-certified behavior analyst. I have a master's degree in autism. But more importantly, I'm an autism dad and love my kids and just try to learn all I can about autism together. And this village is special. I appreciate all of you guys. And go spend time with your family today. So thank you all for being here. Thank you
You do
all.
the
I
same,
appreciate it.
Kylan. Go spend time with your family.
We'll
Take a little
see.
break. Take a little nap. Maybe a little medication or something. Feel better.
You're supposed to
And
tell
we'll
me to
see
go
you
golfing.
tomorrow.
That's what I really need to do. I need to go golfing one
Oh,
of these days. It's
but
been
you're
too long.
sick. You're
I know.
sick.
I know. That's what the body needs, though. I can be
Well,
sick
I
while
don't
I
know.
golf.
You talk to Brooklyn about that one. I'm not gonna get involved. That seems like a partner issue problem. Brooklyn, get your husband, Brooklyn. Get him.
Yeah, no, I probably need a rest. I think that's fair. I don't think I'd do very well golfing. So maybe that's a tomorrow thing. I don't know. All right, you guys. Talk to you later. Thank you all. Have a good one.
Bye. Have a good night.